Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm back at it. Sorry, I took a few weeks off there. I was kind of trying to figure out where I wanted to go with my channel. And quick update on that. I can't do all political orientated content all the time. I just don't have the energy to keep up with that. So my channel's just gonna like topics that I feel come up, stir something in me that I want to share on, maybe give you guys things to think about. Um, Maybe life advice, stuff of that nature. So I will have some political, but it's just going to be a whole just bunch of different type of things and topics. So with that being said, here we go. So this one is about Mgtow and feminism and how kind of dawned on me today they may be two sides of the same coin. So let me preface this by saying second wave feminism. If you don't know what that is, I'll link a first wave feminist in the description. You can watch her and she can explain it to you. And the same thing with Mgtow, men going their own way. Um, you can just YouTube that and find a whole bunch of videos that'll kind of explain that in more depth than I'm going to take right now. So, start with Mgtow. Well, second wave feminism, as we know, is really pushed towards blaming men for just the state of women, and it's not, it's just like if men can change, men do this, men do that, then women will be better off in the world. And it's a hierarchy or patriarch, that's ruled by men. They don't want to get rid of the patriarch. They just think that if women ruled it, it would be better. So that's a really quick summarization of what really vocal second wave feminists stick to. So Mgtow is men going their own way, and it's basically guys who, either young guys who are not married, or older guys, or guys who've gotten divorces, a whole bunch of married things, but basically they're just, they're tired of dealing with women and tired of the games, tired of, giving all this stuff and time, and then just being, especially if they get divorced, getting taken half, having to pay alimony, or if they got kids and they get screwed over with the kids, and all the games that they profess that a lot of women play nowadays. Now, yes, I would agree that it's gotten worse as far as the way women are towards men, most definitely, and society itself. It's like somehow men are the evil thing that needs to be squashed or changed or removed, or whatever the case may be. And as a guy, that can be, especially as a young dude who you haven't concretely found yourself and stuff, that can be really depressing, hurtful, or just like off-putting, And if you deal with girls who are just drinking in all of this over zealous women empowerment, there's women empowerment and then there's overzealous women empowerment, which we're seeing now. Because if you ask any normal person, they say, "Are you all for equal rights for women?" And they're going to say, "Yeah," which is am I, But then when you start to say that those equal rights have to come at a cost of men being demonized and being looked at in all this negative manner and just being masculine is a bad thing, then you got guys who are going to say, "Well, what, huh?" So anyways, neither second wave feminism or Mgtow is good, because they're actually both sides of the same coin. They're both blaming the other sex for their unhappiness in sort of a way. So they're both flying in the face of eons of history between men and women, the way men and women are supposed to, very rare people, I'm addressing more Mgtow now, but for Mgtow men, guys who, if you're thinking about that or you're in the middle of that or something, let me just be straight up honest. There are very few people in the world that are meant to be single their entire lives, plain and simple. Because those who are meant to be single, guys doing the Mgtow lifestyle is not going to be a big deal. But most men are not wired that way. And happiness, I read a comment on one YouTube video, Mgtow video, and they're, like talking about happiness and stuff. Well, happiness is fleeting. It's you're happy one moment and you're depressed and angry the next. So that's not really a good barometer of whether you should engage with women or whatever the case may be. Now, I read one comment about a guy who's in Mgtow lifestyle. I was like, yeah, all these girls, they have all these partners and things like that. And I thought to myself, well, if you're subscribing to the Mgtow lifestyle, most of the girls you meet are going to have multiple partners, because if there's other guys who are Mgtow, then they just met the girl, they want to hook up, and then leave. So, your actual Mgtow lifestyle can increase the number of girls that partners have, and for you yourself. I mean, if you have a ton of partners too as a Mgtow, if you ever decide to somehow get married or something, that's not good for your partner either. So I think that's something for guys who subscribe to Mgtow to be mindful about. And I really want to kind of stress, I don't really want to dig into the feminist side of it, because it's just draining. But as a feminist, if you're a self-proclaimed feminist out there and you're watching this video or whatever the case may be, a question: has anything come good from your life from someone who has put you down constantly and told you everything that's wrong with you in a negative manner, not in a constructive criticism manner, but in a manner of like your very existence is wrong? So if you have, then hey, you're better than most people. But I would assume 99.9% of you girls who call yourself feminists and who subscribe to this man blaming everything, everything wrong with where you are is because of men and blah, 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 blah. How exactly do you think that's going to make men change? Why would you think that men are going to say, hey, you know what? We suck. We're just rotten. We should just leave this planet and not even take part. I mean, there's one thing about constructive criticism and talking about a subject and say, hey, maybe we can work on this together, or this, maybe you guys haven't seen this, or this is what we would like to see improved. But just blaming men for everything and just saying masculinity is toxic and all this other stuff, you're just going to turn a lot of men off. And the men that you do have are just mama boys, and they're not real men, because they just don't know what they're talking about. That's just plain simple. So that's on the feminine side. But on the Mgtow, I understand you don't want to deal with crazy girls, all right? So this would be my suggestion. If you're a dude who is subscribing right now to the Mgtow lifestyle, look, you meet a chick. People say, first, second dates, you shouldn't talk, whatever. Hey, dive right in. I mean, don't hold anything back. Find out where people stand. They stand politically and stuff, because then you don't waste your time. Then you can just move on to the next girl and find a girl that maybe holds your values and stuff like that. I mean, because if you spend 5-6 dates and you really haven't touched any serious topics, heck, that's 2 months possibly, or a month or something, that you're wasting time, because come 6th date, you find out you're so far apart, or the differences are too great to overcome. Now you've just wasted all your time. So I would suggest the guys in this Mgtow lifestyle, first really think about it, because you were not created to be single. I mean, whatever you fall on, if you fall on evolution, I fall on the creation bit. I mean, God, like I said, God created 99.9% of people to cohabitate with the opposite sex and to marry, and some have kids and some not have kids. So I think the Mgtow movement is toxic, or not toxic, but it's the same thing as feminism, because they're blaming women for where they feel in this time. And they've experienced things, guys who've gotten divorced, screwed over, kids screwed over. Same thing with some of these women on the second wave feminism, have gotten raped or sexually, verbally assaulted numerous times. All separate, different, valid, hurtful experiences that happen in their lives. but they're taking those experiences and just contributing to all men in general. And Mgtow men, you're taking all the experiences you've had, and if you haven't experienced a guy, you're saying, oh well, I don't even want to chance that experience. You're just saying all women are that way. I don't see how either one is good, and both fly in the face of, like I said, eons of human existence and human cohabitation, or whatever you want to call it. You know, the fact that, hey, men and women are drawn to each other and they're supposed to date, marry, have kids, or whatever the case may be, or just even if you don't like the whole married thing, whatever, you know, it's just this whole thing of like, I'm just going to live single my whole life. You will regret it. Because like I said, rarely are most of you part of the 0.01% that are created to be single. And you might have more money, you might have all this stuff, but eventually you're going to be waking up one day and say, you know what? I bought all the toys I can buy. I've done all the things I wanted to do. I don't have anyone to come home to and say, hey, this is how my day was. Yeah, you got your boys and your friends, but they can't be over every day, and you can't be, unless maybe you do, but they can't be chatting with you every day on the phone and all this stuff. So while I understand why guys are doing the Mgtow thing, I really like to stress to really reconsider and really think the long-term consequences of this, you know, because hey, too, just like women, the older you get, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be as big a catch as you are now. And if you're having a hard time finding good women, maybe you should find them in a different spot than you've been finding them. Because I think that's a lot of things too. Because like if you go to the bar or you go hang out or at different places and you keep picking up the same chicks, that should tell you that, hey, these chicks hang out at these places. I need to go find someplace else to find a good girl, you know. And you become jaded as well, just like a lot of staunch second wave feminists. They're just jaded and they hate the world, and they just want to blame everything on the opposite sex for lack of responsibility. So I know this is kind of a rant on this. I'll probably go into more depth about it in another video or so, but I really wanted to just kind of get the point out that second wave feminism and Mgtow are two sides of the same coin. They're both blaming the opposite sex for their unhappiness and for their problems they've experienced, which have come from interactions with the opposite sex. But once you start contributing something to the entire race of an opposite, you know, for the entire gender, or I don't even, whatever. So the man, when you start attributing what happened to you to every woman, you're doing a disservice. And for a woman, when you attribute things that may have happened to you or your friend or people you know to every man out there, you're doing yourself and men a disservice. So I'm just sharing this, kind of get you guys to think about it. Hopefully I piqued some interest to find just really how do we back down from these extremes, because these extremes in the Western world at least will destroy us. And this is the cost of affluency, you know, where we in the West here have it so much easier than in so many other places of the world, where they don't have social media to worry about. You know, they worry about when they're going to get their next meal, how they're going to keep, you know, lights on or the family safe and fed and nourished and stuff. They deal with like things we take for granted on an everyday basis. And once you take things for granted, you start then inventing problems. Not necessarily inventing problems, but taking a current problem and making it a mountain out of a molehill, or just exacerbating the problem 10, 20 times fold than it actually is. So I'll stop it there. If you like what you heard, saw all that fun stuff, please hit that like button, share, subscribe. And I'll be bringing out more content. And until next time, this is Savvy Ninja, and we'll see you then.